There are issues, and issues have consequences. Stay tuned, and all will be revealed. Right, just before I start today's video, I'm just going to respond to a comment that I had in Friday's video when I did the layout tour. The person asked me if I'd got drawings of the layout. Well, sadly, I don't model like that. But what I will do is just give a general overview high up very quickly, and then you hopefully get the idea. So obviously we've got Manchester Piccadilly here, and as I move across, this section here is Dinting with Dinting Viaduct, just there. Then we've got the mill, and then that's obviously New Mill Central behind all those trees. Okay, as we come across, this is the countryside section here now. So the main line comes out of Piccadilly, around there, behind that, under that bridge there, comes in front of the carriage shed, goes down behind all these trees, under a tunnel or through a tunnel over there, out just down here, and then follows the track all the way round, and then it goes off into a continuous loop. So that's a double track loop there. Now, the other part of it as well, you got the scene in front of the carriage shed just there, and Hadfield is there. Now, to get up to New Mills, Hadfield and Dinting, and what will be Glossop, these two tracks here, the left-hand two, go up into that far corner. You can see there's a 350 sitting there at the moment, and the trains go right up in front of that back scene, and then go through another tunnel, because there's two in that big hill there, underneath the twin tunnels of New Mills, and then come out along Dinting Viaduct, through Dinting, and then this here is a huge reversing loop, and it just goes back and joins it back with itself. So it's double track up to the end of the viaduct, as it is in real life, and then it goes into single track from there. Okay, now, as I said, this area here will be Dinting. Now, I did ask a while ago which you think I should do first with regard to Dinting, sorry, Glossop, or the Station Throat, Piccadilly Station Throat. And a lot of you said that actually we should do this Station Throat. Now, I only meant that bit, but what do you reckon? Should we do this bit first, which is obviously Piccadilly Station Throat, and there'll be lots of buildings going on down here. We've got to paint the back scene. There's got to be a 3D printed gantry, which is obviously doubles as a bridge, working signals to go in there, all that sort of stuff. Or Glossop, which will be this bit, and it would leave a gap there for a short time. So let me know what you think, and I look forward to your comments. Let's start the video. Well, good afternoon everyone, and welcome back to Piccadilly. Now, I was kind of hoping that once I put this in, all would be well, and I could just get on with just blending this thing, sorting out this wall, sorting out these gaps, those gaps down there, all sorts of things like that, and including this area down here with an acrylic screen. However, I've been running the trains, as you probably have realised from last Sunday's video. I've put some new clips up there, but when I run the trains around this area, I did have a few issues, and it's mainly because of what's going on at the bottom of this unit. There seems to be some kind of catching of the track. I don't know. So I'm going to have to make some modifications to this. All the building, and I nearly knocked that off again, the walkway, the river, all of that is safe. I'm not touching that. But what I do need to do is to remove this top section and make it into a separate unit, purely so that I can look over and see what's going on down there in the track section. And not only that, getting this in and out is an absolute nightmare. For some reason, there is a lip at the bottom here which I do need to cut off. I think it was more of a case of I just left it as a corner and I built this on the top and not thought about it, but I need to remove that sort of lip. And there is also a hook over the top on this piece, and it hooks over this piece. You might be able to see there is a slight join down there. So I need to remove that hook so I can literally just place it in like that and not have to lift it up and drop it down. So let's get this unit out, get it back downstairs and get this top section cut off, and then we can take it from there. Right, so here we are downstairs. That was the lip I was referring to, so that needs to be just cut off and repaired in. Now, the bit I'm showing you here, that's obviously where the track starts. So the track comes in this section here. So what I need to do is follow a line. Now, obviously I'm not going to go right to that edge. So I'll probably cut from about here, keep it parallel with the walkway, and cut through there. I might do something with the wall and attach it to the twin tunnel section so that this just drops in. I don't know at the moment. It does need some thinking about, but obviously that would be another dramatic change if I do that, but we'll see how it goes. It might be a case of I can put some kind of lip over the top. I don't know at the moment. Okay, I think I've got it how I want it, the bottom section anyway. And I've had to remove quite a bit of substructure to be able to make it more manageable. Now, it's all very well having these things and they're looking absolutely great and all that sort of stuff and blah, 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 blah. But if it doesn't work, the unit doesn't fit, or it's not convenient, it's not working. However accurate, however beautiful it might be, if it's not functional, it's no point. Now, so what I've had to do is cut off quite a bit down the side here, and I've cut this part back. You can see all the masking tape, and cut an angle on the bottom. I'll explain why in a minute, and also cut back almost to the top. You can see the creamy line of the card right directly underneath the trees and bushes. And that was because when I put the unit down, watch the gantry, it was catching on the gantry. Now, I'm holding a camera at the same time. Now, obviously, if I'm not holding a camera, I can guide it into position a lot easier with two hands than the one. But that's why all of these had fallen over. And obviously I can't leave it like that. So I've had to sort of cut off quite a bit so that it doesn't catch the gantries or the viaduct so much. Now that's left quite a gap. I mean, in fact, that's over 3/4 of an inch, is almost an inch here. But what I'm going to do is use like lichen or other substances. My brain's gone to sleep, but other substances that I can use to bridge that gap. So when you put the bridge in, or put this unit in, it will have this like lip over the top, so that will then sit on top of the bridge sections just here. Now, debating whether to glue those gantries back in place or to create the socket system, which I've done on these. I've fitted these ones now, so as I showed you before, 2 sockets, and then the actual posts then just slot in, and I can remove those as I want to, and that's made cleaning the tracks so much easier. It really has. Now I'm erring though on gluing these because there's so many different sorts, and it's going to be complicated to work out what to do and where, so I'm thinking about it. But I need to get this foliaged up and then hide all these horrible gaps, and then we'll have a look at it then. Right, now I was trying to think of a substance that I could use that would bridge that gap I was talking about in the last clip. And then suddenly I just remembered this wire wool. It might be complete insanity, but it's not going to fall apart, which is the problem that I would have with other substances. I could put clump foliage on there and lift it out once and then half of it falls off. Whereas if I glue the clump foliage to this, it's much less likely to fall off. So I'm going to give it a go using super glue. It might work. It might be a complete disaster. But already you can see I've almost completely filled that gap. And if I screw that ball up into a big hedge and bung that in there, you won't be any the wiser. That's my theory anyway. Well, I think it's worked. I mean, looking at that, you can barely see any wire wool in there. And I sprayed it with that. Obviously, lots of spray glue is available. That's carpet glue. So it ain't coming off. Now, I'll leave that for a very short time. Then I'll spray it with PVA. And then I'll go over it with the scatters like I normally do, which will then give the leafy effect as opposed to these big. I don't think that's quite so successful, but with the fine turf on the top like it is there, it really does help to make it look a little bit more realistic. Right, a quick update to where we are then. So I can, as you can see, I've got the foliage in the side there, and as I lift that up, that's all right. There might be the odd little bit fall off here and there, but I'm not worried. It is, as I said, it's glued on with carpet glue, and for want of a better way of saying it, the base layer is stuck fast. Any bits that are sort of stuck together, they might break up a little bit, but I think it'll be all right. Now this bit, as you can see, I've cut off the top section, and what I'm going to do is to 3D print like a cap that will run all the way along, probably to about there, and then the top piece, which I'll show you in a minute, will come on, and then the foliage will just literally just sort of merge into that section, so that should be all right. There is a railing running along here on the real place, so I can probably put that on and, you know, make that look a little bit more in keeping, if you like. Now, for the eagle-eyed among you, down here, you'll notice there is a mirror there, okay? Now, just to remind you, the whole point of cutting this top section off is because I was having issues, particularly last week, after trying to get the trains running again. The layout isn't run every week. I mean, it's probably been about 3 months since I ran the layout last. And you probably realise when you keep seeing the same clips over and over again. But sometimes I just haven't got the time. But the track, it wasn't because of the track itself. It was more to do with the fact that it was catching the scenery. And obviously, I need to be able to see what I'm doing. Well, you can see there, I've angled the mirror. And that's one of those car mirrors that you put, blind spot mirrors. You stick it to your car driver's mirror on the outside, and then you can angle it so that you can see cars coming up by the side of you. So it's one of those, and all I've done is I 3D printed some kind of angle bracket. I've put weights on the back so it stands nice and still, and just place it in a particular place where it's not going to catch the trains coming around this corner here, but yet I can still see clearly what's going on in the scene. And if I need to put a little torch in there to help me out to see what's happening, I can easily do that, no problems at all. So that's going to really, really help. Now, next bit, let's get that unit back on, and then I've obviously got to get it stable, and so that it doesn't flop everywhere. I've got to be able to make it sort of sit properly, if you like. Right, so there's the unit back in. Now, I can tell you for a fact that is considerably, and I'm doing this with one hand at the moment, bear with, much more manageable than it was as a whole unit. That goes in and out quite easily now. Now, I do need to do some fettling to it, like make sure that the edge of the tunnel is sitting on the ground and it is far enough that way so it doesn't catch the trains coming through. I've put a brown lip around the front edge with the idea of resting on this, but I haven't made it wide enough, so I can soon add a bit more card to that. and that should be fine. This, like I said before when I talked about this edge here, I can soon do the same on that. Again, it'll be absolutely fine. So little bits and bobs here to do, but I think that's going to work, and it's certainly going to be an awful lot more manageable than lifting the whole of this out, because we're looking probably 18 inches wide and probably, well, this bit's 18 inches square, I would say, and that's about another 7-8 inches that way, and maybe 10 inches that way, that type of thing. But this particular has got some weight to it, as you can appreciate, and it is not easy getting this in and out. So the least, I want to minimize moving this as much as possible, whereas that bit, that's quite light in comparison, so that should help me to sort out all those problems, especially with that mirror I've put down the back there. So I will get this sorted out, add more foliage to this section down here, so when you put it over the top it just sort of blends in, you don't notice it so much, that type of thing. I might even consider putting a support, a leg if you like, down in there so that can rest on that leg. But again, all these different things, I'll have a think about it and I'll come back to you shortly. Well, as you can see, I was just sending the track cleaning wagon all the way around the track, and for some reason or another, this section, which is this big tunnel section here on the left, that's the twin tunnels there, strangely has I don't know, it's somehow that gap's not big enough anymore, so I'm going to have that out and cut back up to at least that line, as you can see there, maybe a little bit more. Anyway, the joys of model railways, eh? Now, I did say there was issues in this video, and as you can see, there still continues to be issues. I've got this section pretty much as I want it, and the section that goes on the top, which is just there, that's not too bad. It does need some packing out in a very similar fashion to what I did with this. There's quite a big gap down there, so I shall do that. The mirror seems to be working quite nicely, so I'm really pleased with that. Glad I bought those. So it's just a case of working out what's happened with that. I don't know. This section here doesn't seem to be fitting particularly well, so well, there we are. Gratefully, I did manage to sort out those further issues, as I explained before. Now, if you might remember, underneath this unit, I showed an image of the track cleaning wagon, and it somehow hit this unit. Now, I'm still baffled to know how that happened, because the slope hasn't changed, that hasn't moved. This hasn't changed, this unit. It's always been leveled on the ground, and it has those bracket slots on it, so it goes back in exactly the same place. Look, I can't move it, it's stuck because it's on those brackets. So, and it was sitting flat onto the bed, onto the baseboard, so I've no idea what happened there, but I managed to cut back part of the top section of that. And then I remembered in that tunnel just there, the top one, that one, I did put some kind of roof to the tunnel. So there was probably around about, I don't know, a centimetre or more before I got anywhere near that height. So I was able to cut back to at least that, and it was all fine. So, and the trains just suddenly go through again. Don't ask, I don't know. But on this unit here, and it does come out as I've said before, I've extended the tree line down here. There is a bit of a line there now, and it's probably more prominent on the camera, but I might give it a bit of a trim. I mean, see what you think. Tell me what you reckon, if you think it needs a bit of a trim. I mean, it's not going to come out hopefully that often, but hopefully I certainly won't need to take this out, I hope. But so if there's any issues down there, that would be the only piece coming out. If there's an issue down here, obviously all of these two pieces have got to come out, but that's the way life is. So I've managed to bring the foliage out like that, and I've created a different tunnel portal to what's there. It is difficult to see actually, And you might say, well, why did I do that? It's because this one's wider. I did notice in the past trains were catching it. If it wasn't sitting quite correctly, then it would foul the trains. And I thought, well, it's not worth the hassle. So I just made another one, put it in. It's given me an extra 15 millimeters, 7 millimeters or so either side. So it's got to be worth doing, isn't it? Anyway, so the other thing I've done is I've literally just done this just before I picked up the camera, and that is to put some caps on the top of this wall here. It's not fitting perfectly, and I will need to probably put some small element of foliage running down the side there, and again just covering up little bits. Probably need some kind of post there, if not a return on the wall. I don't know. I might, and this is a big might, put that wall in this path and have it come that way. I don't know at the moment, so I'll have to think about that. But next, what I do need to start thinking about is this area here. And because this is fixed, this is then pushed up as far as it will go underneath. That won't go any further. That means I can't get these tracks any further that way. So it means these tracks will have to come this way. So that's what I'll be doing in the next video. I did say in a previous video that it's highly unlikely any trains will be coming up this section anyway, because they'll generally terminate just there, because there's nowhere for them to go. That's a brick wall there. So they're not going up any further. So we'll see. I'll show what I'm going to do with that in the next video. And also these trees need sorting out. Look at the state of that. Anyway, I will leave the video there. Hope you've enjoyed it, seeing how I've gone about resolving yet further issues on this layout. And I will catch you again very, very soon here on Piccadilly. Bye for now.